Welcome to Intermediate Blending, a follow-up series to Beginning to Blend. I'm JoRaSe, your host for this series, just like the last. Now, let's delve in and begin. So this time we're going to be doing soda cans. And since they're rather simple in nature, just a cylinder, I figured we'd get two of them out of the way today and the third one on Thursday. And we're doing three this time because this is going to be the first one where we actually will be making them like you would have them in a game, where there are three different models. Usually it's three, there can be more, but two is generally not enough. You're going to have too much detail way out there, while it's still way out there. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. What we're doing now is the first two can models. So let's go ahead and open up the model. I think it's exported, I think. We're going to find out. So let's import from the cans texture file. And yes, they're all OBJ. So we want LODA. Get rid of the default cube here. And let's go ahead and turn on screencast keys. And let's just go into edit mode and move it into center position from the top. There. Now this is the first can model. And to give kind of a perspective on how far away this one would be used, you're looking at something about this far out. Far enough that you can tell there's something there that's supposed to be a can, but definitely not close enough to need any little details added in. So we're just going to do a simple unwrap. All of the blue lines need to get cleared out. So go to shading and UVs, and we want to okay, we just want to clear them, so Control E and clear sharp. Couldn't remember if I had the modifier activated or not, but we don't, so that makes it much better. Alright, so what we're going to do is first go into edge select mode down at the bottom here. And we want to get the top ring and this one and the bottom ring. Actually get this one and this one instead. Had to think about it for a second there. Once we've got those selected, going to come over here on the left on the shading and UVs tab, and we want to mark these selected edges as seams. They turn red, and now we need to add in a side edge. So we'll select that one, and we want the corresponding one on the other side. So it'll be this one. And we want to mark those as well. And now with everything marked, we can go ahead and unwrap. First thing, move the cursor up to the top of the screen where it turns into a double-ended arrow. And right-click it, and then we want to split area. And just left-click to confirm. Over in the right window, we want to get it to the UV editor or UV viewport. So right down here where it has the cube grayed out, we're going to click that and go up to UV image editor. Gives us this. Now we can come over and where it has the selections for how to unwrap it, we just want a basic unwrap, and it gives us this. As always, we want to drag it down to the bottom, and the top one is when we need to be sure we're getting correct. So it's going to be this one. So let's get this moved up here, and we're going to scale it up a little bit, like so, and go ahead and pin it with the P key. Now these, the top and bottom, we don't have to worry about. They're just a silvery aluminum color on most cans. And I'm going to hate myself for this, but for all the crazy people in Europe who say it the other way, aluminium. There. Now I've said it. We all have our different opinions of different people's languages and pronunciations of things. Mine is biased towards the American approach. And therefore that is what you will hear from me most of the time. Let's scale this up on the y-axis a little bit to about there. And now go back into vertex UV selection mode, and we're going to line all these up together on the x-axis. So that's going to be scale, the X key, and 0. Alright, we got that done, so now we'll pin that. And now to export the UV layout, which is going to be going to the UV menu at the bottom, and up at the top we want to export UV layout. Now we want to put it into the correct folder. This is going to be CAN LODA for CAN level of detail A. And we're going to export all UVs and go ahead and export it out. Now to go into Inkscape, and here you can see the texture map, and we're going to open the texture map that we're going to be copying to. So here we go. Let's get it split out here, work a bit easier. Now for this, we've just got the silver at the bottom, so let's copy that over. Or gray, I don't know why I keep calling it silver. And then for the top one, we want this piece. The entire thing, actually. So we're going to copy it and paste it. And it would probably benefit us to go ahead and group it all together, so it's all one piece. Now we can move it into place. Let's zoom in a bit in this window. And let's scale it up. And we're going to use the Control key while we left click and drag to get it to maintain its the predefined shape. Just a little bit more. And nudge it into place. And let's lower the opacity so we can actually see that everything is lining up properly. Almost. So let's nudge this up a bit. And we can tap it over. And that covers everything. Put the opacity back all the way to 100, and now the last thing is the label. And for that, we're going to select the entire label, copy it, and paste it over. It works better if we paste it over when we're actually in the right window, or in the right panel. We'll go ahead and group it all together, slide it down, and we need to scale this up as well, so that's what we're going to do. And we can turn the opacity down a little bit to ensure that we're getting a little bit of the green on the outside. Like that. Oh, too much. There we go. And now needs to slide over a little bit so it's all the way on that left edge, like so. And that's pretty much it. We can go ahead and save it and return to Blender. And you may be wondering why I'm not worried about this little portion over here. We can fix that in Blender. So let's go ahead and open the image. Navigate back to the texture folder and load the file. Now we select all of these and let's scale them on the x-axis. And now slide them over on the x-axis to where it fits in, like so. And let's just flatten these out on the y-axis. There we go. And now everything is set. Let's see how it looks over here on the actual model. And if we remove the light to another layer, it'll make it easier to see everything. So there we go. Slight problem. The label is upside down on both sides. Easily fixed though. We just flip these. So Control M, and we want to flip it on the y-axis. That corrects it one way, but now it's backwards. So now we need to flip it on the X. And there we go. One can of JoRaSe, the generic soda. In case you haven't guessed by now, I'm not all that creative when it comes to these things. Alright, so that's how we did the first one. Let's go ahead and save the file. Can LODA. And let's go ahead and do the next one. So that's going to be start up a new file. And go ahead and get rid of the default cube. Make sure screencast is on, and we're going to import the OBJ for Model B. Same type of can, a little bit more detail. This one would be probably from about here. So let's go ahead and get it set up. Clear these sharp edges and mark the ones we need for what we're going to be doing. And notice the bottom is a little bit more detailed as well. So get all of them selected, and also these on the edges. Go ahead and go to Shading UVs on the left and mark seam. Got the seams all marked. Now to split the view. So we split it, change to the UV image editor. Make sure we have the model selected completely, and unwrap. Drag it all the way down. Switch to face, select on the UV editor. Get the center of the top. Move it up all the way. Pin it. Grab the two on the bottom and the top ring that we don't need detailed, and move those together and scale them down and pin it. Move that up all the way to where it's about there. And now for the next portion, it's going to be these. And we just want to move them down to where they're flush with each other. Go into vertex select mode and go ahead and flatten them all out. On the x-axis this way. Now grab all of them, rotate it 90 degrees, and flatten them all on the x the other way. That's done. Select it all, move it up, and we're going to scale it like we did before, just up on the Y a little bit, and pin it. Now go to UVs, export UV layout, go to the proper folder. Sometimes it'll be on the recent list on the right, sometimes it won't. And this is going to be CAN LODB. Make sure it exports all UVs and hit export. Now back to our Inkscape. And we're going to open up Can Be, close Can A. Don't really need to worry about that, so we're going to close without saving. Get this. There we go. All right, now, again, for the lid, we're going to be using this one. Or, no, thinking wrong, we're going to be using this one. So go ahead and copy it all, paste it over, and group it. Get that moved into position, zoom it in, take the opacity down, and then scale it and move it. And we might have done it enough this time. Almost, just a little bit more on the side here. And there we go. Let's get the opacity back up all the way. Now for the little bit at the bottom. And it's not that I have anything against Europeans and the way they pronounce things, but you know, I'm an American. And over here in America, we don't use the metric system or say things the way they do in Europe. And that's mainly because we're Americans. We like to be different. So there we have our entire texture for level B, except for that little bit. Again, we'll fix that in the Blender editor. So we're going to go ahead and save it. Go back into Blender. Load in our file. And scale this on the X to where it'll slide over and fit. Now, what do you think? This is going to be the wrong orientation. Let's go ahead and change it so it won't be this time. And there we go. Let's hide this, or not hide it. move it to another layer. And there you go. That is the second soda can model. That's all for this session of Polygonal Art with JoRaSe. If you enjoyed what you saw, how about giving this video a thumbs up? And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out on future videos from me. In the video description below, you'll find my Patreon link. Feel free to check it out. Now, on to the credits.